What's going on, Creekmore crew? Today I'll be talking about 11 must-have homesteading tools. These are tools that will be useful no matter if you have a larger homestead of 100 acres or more or a smaller homestead of a half an acre to an acre. These tools are 11 tools that you'll commonly use to get jobs done around the homestead. But first, if this is your first time here and you want to learn how to live better, live cheaper, and survive when things get tough, then be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Okay, the first tool that we're going to talk about today are sawhorses. Sawhorses are really handy because you're always sawing things in the homestead. You're always sawing wood, you're always sawing plywood, you're always sawing something. And having sawhorses like these allow you to put whatever you're sawing up off the ground so you can get a better angle at it and make it easier to saw. It's hard to saw anything when it's laying on the ground. So you need to bring it up off the ground. These sawhorses are excellent for that. You can get kits that are like metal brackets, and use the metal brackets with 2x4s and put those together, and they'll make good strong sawhorses. But these right here are made by Stanley. I think I got these on Amazon several years ago. I think they're like $50-something. I will put a link in the description below to Amazon so you can go check that out and see the price on these. They might have them somewhere else, I don't know, but I know I got these off of Amazon. Like I said several years ago, these are really lightweight. They will fold. You can see the bottom, they'll fold flat, and they're easy for storage. They're easy to just throw them in the back of your pickup truck and go to the job site or carry them to wherever you need them. You can also make an exit workbench with these. It's portable. You just fold them out and get a piece of plywood that's the right size and go across the top, and you have an instant workbench. Like I said, you can get metal brackets to make these yourself out of the metal brackets and some 2x4s. But I really like these because they are really lightweight and easy to move around. But having a set of sawhorses of some type around the homestead is recommended. The next tool we're going to look at is not really a tool, but it's really handy for the homestead. And I showed you these a few days ago, are these live traps. These are really handy because around the homestead you're always getting things like rabbits and things in your garden, eating your tomatoes and things like that, especially if you don't have your garden fenced. And everything's always trying to get into your chickens. And these are really handy about catching whatever's getting into your garden and getting into your chickens and things, into your garbage or whatever. It's really good at catching whatever it is without harming. As you can see, they go an animal. You can see an animal goes in through the door is up when the trap is set. An animal will go in, flip the pan back there, and the door will shut, trapping them inside. And you can then make a decision on what you want to do. If you want to keep it, eat it, kill it, turn it loose, whatever, then having these live traps like this are really handy and will allow you to do that. The next tool we'll look at is a 5-gallon bucket. Yeah, I know, wow, a 5-gallon bucket. It's not really a tool, but it actually is a tool. It's something you use all the time around the homestead. You'll use buckets to carry water, feed to the animals, tools. These buckets are really handy, and it's recommended you have several on the homestead. This actually has the lid for the gamma seal lid, so I'll link to those in the description below. It's really handy to store whatever you need into the bucket and carry it around. You can also get, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's a tool. It's like a tool bag that will go over top of the bucket. It goes in the bucket and has pockets on the outside. And I don't have one of those. I need to go get one of those actually because it's really handy. But then you can use your 5-gallon bucket as a tool kit. You have your bucket and you stow stuff in the middle of the bucket, and you have pockets on the outside of the bucket that you can put your tools in. Like I said, I forgot what that's called exactly, but it's like a tool kit that goes over the 5-gallon bucket that makes it into a handy toolbox. But anyway, 5-gallon buckets are really handy, and I suggest that you have several on the homestead. Another thing is a metal TPost driver like this one. These things are extremely handy. You can drive the metal T-post with a sledgehammer, but I've done it before, but it's really dangerous. It's a good way to get your arms broke, legs broke, fingers smashed. Using the post driver like this is a whole lot safer, and it makes the job a whole lot easier. This also relates to fencing. It's a good set of posthole diggers. It's kind of hard to dig a good post hole using a shovel. We'll talk about the shovel here in a minute. But a good set of posthole diggers like these are really handy. And like I said, you'll need them all the time. You'll need them to build chicken pens. You'll need them to put up fencing, obviously. They're good for everything. You can also use these things. I've actually used these things for digging holes for planting individual plants. That's one thing that the marijuana growers do in this area, is they will use posthole diggers, and they'll carry these into the forest, and they'll dig a big deep hole into the ground, up 2 foot deep or so, and widen it out with these posthole diggers, and then they'll carry their own dirt in because the soil in the woods is pretty poor. The same thing would apply to guerrilla gardening techniques, but these are marijuana farmers. They take these posthole diggers, and they'll go into the forest and find a good location. They will dig their post holes into the ground about 2 foot deep and widen it out at the top, and then they will carry in good soil and fill those holes up and plant their marijuana plants in there. But anyways, posthole diggers are really handy and recommended around the homestead. Another thing you always need around the homestead is a good shovel. You're always shoveling things, you're always digging things, and I suggest that in the shovel and the posthole diggers that you get fiberglass handles over wood. They even make them with metal handles, and those are even better. They're a little more expensive, but they're better, but they're also heavier. But I found that the fiberglass will last a long time. The last set of posthole diggers I had those for like 15 years, and they had fiberglass handles. And finally, one of the handles finally broke. So they will break, but they last a long time. This is the second set I bought these. These haven't been used a whole lot, as you can tell. I actually bought these a few months ago. I've not really done much digging with these, but especially when you're setting up your homestead, a set of posthole diggers is used all the time. The next item that we'll talk about is a good wheelbarrow. As you can see, this one has the double wheels in the front. I like these better than the single wheel because they're easier to keep balanced. The single wheel is actually easier to turn, but the double wheels are easier to balance. So I take the trade off, and I like the double wheels better. And you might like the single wheel better, but for me, the double wheels is better. You can see this one has a plastic bucket. You can get these with metal buckets and things, but the metal buckets are more likely to rust, especially if they're left outside. Leaving your tools outside is not a good idea, and I keep this under the shed behind the house. If you leave your wheelbarrow outside, it's better to turn it up. So turn it over where this part is down so it doesn't collect water in the barrel. You're better off, as you can see, this one has wood handles, and you're better off with something besides wood, because the wood handles are the worst. They will last a pretty good while if you take care of them, but they are bad to crack and break and splinter after a while, especially, like I said, if they're left outside. If you have a wheelbarrow with wood handles, it's a good idea to actually paint these or stain these to make them last longer. The next thing we'll look at is a good generator. I've talked about this generator before in another video, but I'll link to this generator on Amazon. You're always needing power around the homestead. Just having this generator will allow you to have portable power. You can move this to wherever you need this at. You can take this on job sites or whatever. Also, works really well. It's really quiet, really fuel efficient, and it's suggested that you have a generator on your homestead. These are good for power outages and things like that also. But a good generator, and this is one of the best generators that I've found. I mean, this is lightweight, portable, easy to move around, cheap on gas, it's quiet. Like I said, I showed you all this generator in another video, which I'll link to up in the card. You can check that out. I'll link to that in the description also. But a good generator is essential around the homestead. The next thing we'll talk about is a good chainsaw. Chainsaw is necessary. You're always cutting things, you're always sawing things, and having a chainsaw, you'll need to get your own firewood in, most likely. And a chainsaw is the best way to do that. I mean, trying to saw a year's supply of firewood with a handsaw is very difficult. It can be done. It's been done in the past, but it's not the best way to go. Having a good chainsaw is a good idea. My preference is the steel. Like this one, I've had this one for a long time. I've had this chainsaw since 2000. I think it's been 2011 I bought this chainsaw, and it's been excellent. It's never failed. I've never had to do anything to it besides replace the chain in the bar and add fuel, of course, and bar oil. But it's been an excellent chainsaw and works really well. So I suggest you get a steel or a Husqvarna. The steel, I like the steel better, but the Husqvarna is good also. You can see I have one of each. In an ideal world, I'd have two of the exact same type. That way, if one broke down, I could cannibalize the other one for parts. Okay, and the next thing we'll talk about is a good shotgun. This is a 12 gauge single shot break open shotgun, and having a good shotgun on the homestead is recommended because, like I said when we talked about the trap over there, things are always trying to get into your chickens, they're always trying to get into your garden and things like that, and having a good shotgun like this, especially a 12 gauge, is versatile. And this is, like I said, a single shot. It's not the best for home defense, but it will work at a pinch if you have to. This was actually my dad's shotgun before he passed away. Okay, the last item that we're going to talk about today is a good ladder. This is one of the folding type that will fold out to a regular type ladder, or it'll fold out into a step ladder. It also folds in different positions and different things like that. I think I bought this at Walmart for, I think it's like $175 I get for this ladder. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. And remember, prepare today for a safer tomorrow. Also remember, everyone makes fun of the prepper until the apocalypse.